Welcome to Talkin Business. I'm Joe Catrambone, CEO of the Stuart Martin County Chamber of Commerce, and it's my pleasure to have Joshua Miron with me today with
Sharfi.
Sharfi Holdings.
It's
I don't
a,
know
it,
why
ta- it takes one or two times, but
I don't have
you
it.
get it.
So this is really a trailblazing uh, situation we're in because I just met Josh. I don't know anything about him. So we're going to learn and find out together and find out Josh's story. And one of the things those of you who've seen this program before know that I always like to start out with what brought you to Martin County or the Treasure Coast or this area.
Sure.
Can you share that with us?
Of course, yeah, Joe. Thanks for having me. I appreciate
Sure.
it. It's good to
My
meet you.
pleasure.
So, I am the president and general counsel. As you mentioned, a company called Sharfi Holdings. Sharfi Holdings owns a number. Basically a management company of sorts, but we own and operate a number of different businesses within the Martin County area. The owner of the company, the individual who started the company, his name was Benjamin Sharfi. Ben has lived in Sewell's Point, has been a resident of Sewell's Point for many, many years. And he originally came to this county from California, really candidly, for a better life for his family. He was living in California and has two young children and wanted to bring them into a phenomenal, community where they could be enriched and enjoy their lives. And while he was here, he appreciated from a business perspective what he can do to kind of give back to the community. And so at the end of the day, to answer your question, the reason why we're here and the reason why we've started businesses and continue to thrive in Martin County is because of how meaningful it has been to Mr. Sharfi and his family. And at the end of the day, it's also a mission. So we at Sharfi Holdings have our mission is that we are trying to create and want to bring and maintain the youth of Martin County to Martin County, meaning from a professional perspective, technical, professional, or otherwise, Ben over the years has realized that a lot of the kids who go to college or a lot of the kids that want to do something different, they don't necessarily have all the opportunities to do certain things they want to do here in Martin County, and they're moving away and going someplace else. And so obviously that's not a good thing from a community-based perspective. So we're doing everything that we can through our own mission to keep those individuals here in Martin County and provide them the resources, the living ability, the play ability, and the work ability to stay here and keep that talent in the county.
We had a senator who used to refer to what you're talking about as our students moving away as a brain drain.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And it's become better. But going back 25 or 30 years ago, or even 20 years ago, there wasn't a whole lot of things
Industry.
for our kids to come back to.
Sure.
We're not an economic hub, obviously. We don't have a lot of industry, and a lot of people. These kids used to come into my office with these resumes, looking for jobs, and they said, "Well, you're the highest per capita county in the state of Florida." I said, "But that doesn't mean we have anything for you here.
Right.
The reason we're the highest or second highest per capita income county between Palm Beach and us, and now the Naples area has come into the mix. So between the three of us, one of us each year is the highest per capita county in the state of Florida.
It's because of retirees.
That's what we were about.
Yeah.
Now it's changed. We do have some industry, the hair, and we have more industry now than we've ever had in our history. And Indiantown is starting to develop. That's always been the dream to be the economic hub of Martin County. So it's become better, but it's still we're not an economic hub,
But the sin is that the people are fantastic, the communities are fantastic, the schools are excellent schools. Who wouldn't want from my perspective, and certainly there are others who have a different opinion, but from my perspective, who doesn't want to live near the water? Who doesn't want to live near the beach? And then separate and apart from that, you've got all the wonderful things that Palm City provides. Equestrian communities, more rural communities, things to do that, maybe not boat related or water related, and it really
Equestrian.
gives you equestrian.
I mean, Western Martin County is.
And where can you find that now? You can't find that in Broward County. People are being both taxed and run out of the southern
Space,
counties because of space and value. Here, there still has those opportunities.
Yeah. And it's such a great location because Palm Beach is 35 miles down the road.
Sure.
You want nightlife, and I say to people, this if you're looking for the nightlife in action,
This ain't it.
you want to live here.
But
But if you want the nightlight,
you have that option.
Orlando's in it, 2 hours away.
Sure.
Miami's 2 hours away. Palm Beach is 30 minutes away. So it's a great place to come back to.
To have that
yeah.
peace and quiet and enjoyment.
Yeah. It's always. I mean, I've had people say, when I was 12 years old, my grandparents moved to Hutchinson Island, and I came to visit them.
Sure.
And I knew I was going to live
Really?
in the area.
In that area?
And
In this area?
yeah, and my first trip to Florida, I was in the 6th grade, and traveled from Newark by train. Got caught in a hurricane in Jacksonville.
wow.
Stayed 24 hours parked on a train in Jacksonville.
That's a good story.
But I knew then when I was in the 6th grade that I was going to live in Florida. That was my goal.
And guess what? You made it.
I did.
Yeah.
I did, and it didn't take me. I was in my late 20s when I moved to Florida.
So why did you move to Florida?
A business.
See? Yeah.
Yeah. So I had a business, and we had an opportunity to take over another business in Jacksonville. Never been to Jacksonville in my life. I said, I'm going.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I started telling you I have emigrated also from the Northeast, admittedly. My wife is the only native that I know, theoretically, that's actually born and raised here. But I emigrated from the Northeast, and we ended up in Jacksonville, too. We entered in Jacksonville for a little while, and then finally made our way down here.
Well, I lived in Jacksonville when they were going through the incorporation.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So
because Jacksonville in area is the biggest city in the world.
It is.
But the population wasn't there. Now it's a lot
Much bigger.
different now. Yeah,
Yeah.
much bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me.
So let me tell you some about some of our businesses.
Yeah,
and
I was just going to ask
how
you.
that
Yes,
interplays.
please.
So we do what I like to say a variety of things. Our main business, which just happens to be in California, and it's the business that made Mr. Sharfi, successful, is that we build ruggedized computer hardware for the Department of Defense.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very cool, very interesting. So the way I explain it to people is we make really small, really fast, very powerful engines that you will see in different weapon systems, in different jets and tanks and ships and things of that nature. And part of that, and part of the ability to do that, is to have talent, to have good talent, engineers. So when Mr. Sharfi moved his business, at least a portion of the business, here to the Martin County area, we opened up, and he maintains what's now the Jensen Beach Tech Center. The Jensen Beach Tech Center is also a hub for us to develop engineers, for the electrical engineers and engineers that will help other ancillary businesses, but also the business in California. And so that was the initial genesis. The initial genesis was, how do we bring those individuals who would otherwise want to go to Silicon Valley or go to Raytheon or go to these much larger companies, and bring them and keep them here? Because we identified, Mr. Sharfi identified early on, because of the peer group that his kids had, he identified early on that these kids some of them are brilliant. They're going to good schools. They have fantastic talent. They want to do good things. They just need the opportunity. But as you said earlier, housing was necessarily an issue.
Horrible.
where are they going to go from a nightlife or an entertainment perspective, and what would draw them to this area. And so the answer was, we ended up purchasing a number of units. We own roughly 95% of the commercial and roughly 75% of the residential units that are in a development called Renard River Place. Are you familiar with that area?
I am.
It's on the corner of Northeast Pineapple and Indian River Drive.
Yeah, I knew the ladies who developed at Renard. I can't think of her name.
Arden Doss.
Doss, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Renee is her name.
Correct.
Yeah.
Renee is his fantastic
She's
assistant, partner in crime.
She's a dynamo.
She is
Yeah,
a dynamo.
Yeah.
So we ended up purchasing a number of the units, both commercial and residential, and the idea was, in which we're now putting into practice, is we are and have created a campus. Essentially, it's not a tech campus per se, but it's a campus where individuals, young, old, medium, whatever the case may be, have the capacity to eat, sleep, play, all within the same general function and area. So
Like an enclave. Huh?
and exactly. So we have, as I mentioned, we have a tech center, which is on one corner of the property. And we house roughly 10 to 12 young engineers there that work for us, and they're doing phenomenal. And a separate across the street, we've now opened up Circa 69, which is our newest restaurant. It's been open for about a year. It's doing fantastic. We love it. If anybody recognizes it, they know it, because when you're driving down Indian River, we have this really large, magnificent, full window wall that's hydraulic that opens up to the bar area. So when you're driving by, you can see everybody in the bar and you can hang out outside. And it's wonderful. So we have a bar area, and then we also have a more fine dining section. So it's kind of a dichotomy. And so Circa 69 is the forefront, is like the hub of that corner. Then we've also opened Burrito Heaven. So we all love burritos. So we opened up an outlet called Burrito Heaven, which is doing terrific. That's next door. If you go around the corner,
Well, you're really diversified. Huh?
I'm not done. So we go around the corner,
Wow.
and we have a coffee shop called JavaScript. JavaScript being a play off of computers. We have a ice cream, yogurt, candy store called Joe and Benny's. And we have another space that we're slated for. We're thinking about putting in like a salon of sorts, maybe hair, nails, men's, women's salon. Again, we're trying to create this eat, sleep, work mentality. And then we're also have one more space that it looks like we're probably going to allocate to a pizza place.
Wow.
We're going to sell pizza and beer. That's the thought. This is, this is our passion. This is what we're trying to accomplish. And thank God we have the capacity to do it and implement it. And so far, it's been terrific. So that's what's going on specifically in Jensen Beach. And that's that kind of enclave that you mentioned. And so my employees that work for us, we provide them severely discounted rental rates. I end up discounting the rent depending on the time, anywhere between 25 and 35% based upon fair market value.
How many units do you have?
Right now we have 25.
Now, are they leased to all your employees?
That,
Is that a prerequisite for them to lease?
It is absolutely not. It's a benefit. I don't obligate
No,
anybody.
I mean, is it a
Yeah, it is.
prerequisite for someone to live there?
No, it's not.
So it's open to the public,
It is
but you
absolute.
encourage your employees to live there?
100%. If an employee is coming from somewhere else and they're relocating, and they're having a hard time finding someplace to live that is affordable and
it's
yet
a
a nice
huge
quality,
issue.
it is a huge issue, which is why we identified early on, let's do this. Let's make the investment in the individual and in the community. We bought the units, and then really I just want to cover what I call cover my nut. Right? I just want to make sure that we're not losing money on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, you're
that
not,
I'm
you're,
paying for
you're
the
not trying to get
taxes.
rich.
No,
You're-
I'm paying the taxes, I'm paying the insurance, and I'm paying the HOA fees.
So many people don't get that how you need to, especially in today's world, it's so difficult to hire a good employee.
Mm-hmm.
When you get one,
You got to keep them. Correct.
exactly,
So-
and so, and obviously it's wonderful what you're all doing. It's
My mantra.
it's mind blowing. How many most employers today don't really wouldn't go through the gyrations that you all are going through
So let me-
to treat your employees good and to maintain them.
So let me tell you why, which is, I think it's obvious. It's a number one. It's a number one thing for me, and always has been. It's a number one thing for Ben, Mr. Sharfi. But we can't do it alone, right? His mantra and my mantra has always been, if I could do it myself, I wouldn't need you, right? And so I always look for people who specialize in certain things, and I look for people who are good at what they do and care, right? You have to have those intangibles, but at the end of the day, I am relying on people to help us all be successful in whatever endeavor we're doing. I can't do it myself. I wouldn't want to try and do it myself. And so if I'm trying to attract those good individuals and that talent, then I want to give them those types of intangibles that they wouldn't otherwise get somewhere else.
How do you go about recruiting, especially engineers?
It's hard.
Yeah,
It's very hard. So, these days I have an HR manager who, candidly, she acts as, a full-time recruiter and an HR manager at the same time. And I have to go outside to third-party sources and hire recruiters to help with that endeavor. And by creating again, candidly, websites are a big thing. Making sure that from a marketing and a media perspective, you're getting out the right message. And then, a good, you end up relying on good people to try to help you find that.
Would you recruit an engineer right out of school, or do you look for someone who's got some and then train them?
Yeah. My formal training is that I was a commercial trial lawyer for 20 years before I stepped into this role as the president and general counsel of the company. And
That's quite a change, isn't it?
it is a change. It's a wonderful change, but it's a change.
I'm sure it is.
The mantra then, as a lawyer developing new lawyers, and the mantra now as an employer, is that as much as there are certain roles where I want individuals who are already good at what they do, right? Who are already professionals, have been doing it at a high level. But at the same time, from an engineering perspective, I want someone that I can train. I want someone who doesn't already have bad habits that I have to undo. Or our particular industry, relative to these little tiny computers and things of that nature, are very specified, very specific. And I want to be able to provide the training and the education to help them best understand what we're trying to accomplish, because it is a niche of some sort. So to answer your question, we absolutely take people directly out of school without question. We've got a great mentor and great mentors at the company. But generally they're going to be anywhere from right out of school to 3-4 years.
Yeah, and that's a good thing, because they haven't been out in the workplace long enough to develop bad habits.
Correct.
And they're young enough and eager enough where you could train them to fit your bill that you're looking for.
It's a win-win, right?
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
My dad was an engineer. My dad was a mechanical engineer.
Yeah.
And ended up as an HR director for a Fortune 500 company in New York.
That's an interesting jump.
Because he wasn't and I don't mean this to, engineers are different people. Their personalities, to me, they're different. And my dad, to me, wasn't a typical engineer. I look at a typical engineer with remember they used to take
The
them
pocket protector, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
A very A-type personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're innovative people. I mean, that's their minds are more constantly going.
So Ben and I have an incredible relationship, Mr. Sharfi and I, and there are many times where we are talking either late at night or really early in the morning, because we're thinking, right? And I'm like, he's always thinking about something new. He's always thinking about coming up with something. I'm always thinking about something,
Well, obviously, he's got a very innovative mind.
He does.
And you must too, to be able to
I'm just
in the same par with.
I'm just trying to keep up. Yeah, I'm just trying to keep up.
That's a good thing, though, isn't it?
It is a good thing.
I mean, it keeps you on your toes. It keeps you looking forward.
I love the business aspect of it, and we also, as you kind of intimated earlier, and not to cut you off, we have so many other things that we do
Yeah, you're diversified, really diversified.
So I didn't tell you about we have a 30-acre organic farm in Palm City.
Wow.
So we produce organic produce, fruits and vegetables that we use in our own restaurants. We have a 350-acre property also in Palm City that we're developing into a community center. It's going to be an equestrian slash soccer.
Where's that?
It's off of Southwest Layton Farms Road.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
You know,
Out
right
by
off-
the Humane Society's out there.
100% exactly about there.
Yeah.
So that's, that's something that's important for us. It's, again, giving back to the community, giving back to the youth. It's going to be an equestrian center as well as a soccer.
Boy, that's great. That is. So, I'm so happy to hear that. I don't have a horse anymore, but I've had horses most of my life, and it's one of the reasons I chose Palm City
Yeah.
to live when I moved here. Everything seems to fit, except the restaurant business. It's such a difficult. My mother had a restaurant. My uncle had
It
a
is
restaurant.
difficult.
It's so.
You have to love it. So I
It's
always say,
demanding. It's so demanding of you. You know, it's
I always say that I am a heavy set guy trapped in a skinny guy's body. I love food. It is very interesting to me, but it is very different. I think we are ultimately separate apart from what goes on in California. In what we do at the Tech Center, we are very hospitality centric, and that's on purpose. We have a private jet charter business
Wow.
called Plus One Air.
wow.
That's hospitality. It's and we also we're developing a property in Palm Beach called the Buccaneer. The Buccaneer is going to be a boutique resort, marina, and restaurant. It's all we've got another Wawa style convenience store going in Riviera Beach. It's all hospitality
How many
related.
employees y'all have?
So between the entire country, we have in excess of 265. I sometimes lose count on a week-to-week basis, but here we employ just in Martin County alone in excess of 150 individuals,
Wow.
and it's growing. And it's great. We really enjoy it. It keeps me on my toes. Trying to open up I was worrying about the stuffed animals for the ice cream parlor the other day. And I'm like, really? But it was enjoyable. I'm walking through Target looking at like, well, that would look cool in there.
You know, it's so important. And it sounds like you enjoy what you do.
I do.
It's so. I don't have a job. I mean,
It's because you love what you do.
I can't wait to get there every
Yeah.
day. I love what I do. And I've told my kids, if you're not happy in your job where you're employed, it sets the tone for your whole
It does.
life.
You will,
Because
you
if
will
you're
be miserable.
6 or 8 hours in misery, it carries over. You can't. There's not a switch.
You will carry that to your relationships. It'll carry it to everything you're
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no question about it.
I
So it's so important to be happy and enjoy what you're doing. And you're not in a rut.
I'm not in
You
a
know,
rut.
you're developing, you got a restaurant going, you've got.
If anything, I am not in a rut. I am
How do you
everywhere
keep-
but.
How do you keep on top of all this stuff?
My thing is to-do lists. So I have as I said to you earlier, I have great people.
No, you can't
yeah.
work without.
I have great people around me that I rely on significantly. But for me, it's part of my mentality. Even as a lawyer, it was constantly, thinking about different things all the time and trying to not micromanage. I try to micromanage too, but
That's not good.
multitask. I
There
know it's
you
not
go.
good.
That's better.
Multitask.
There you go.
But lists. I have my deputy general counsel, his name is Chris Hamilton. He worked with me at my old firm. He was my trial partner. He's invaluable, and he and I share a to-do list. And that to-do list is like our bread and butter. Otherwise, I
Yeah.
couldn't keep it all straight.
And your staff is so important.
Staff's important.
You have to have.
And they all need to be
They're
on
a
the same page.
reflection of you, or
100%.
you're a reflection of them.
100%.
And so it's so important to
That's
have
why making them feel good about themselves, making them feel comfortable, making them not have to worry, it all ends up flowing into how their day-to-day thoughts and how they do their jobs.
And they can concentrate on the job rather
Correct.
looking to see where they're going next.
Correct.
checking the want ads or
Correct.
things of that nature. I've always liked to create an environment where my people did want to leave, and I had a business before I had 66 employees, but I made it so that they thought, wow, where am I going from here?
Yeah.
So so you have so many people you have to be liberal. If somebody's doing their job, I don't count hours, I don't count sick days.
Yeah.
That's not the
We do, because we're obligated to do it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I treat people like they're professionals. And I always say to them,
it's respect.
I just need you to get your responsibilities done. And as long as you're doing your job and doing it well, at the end, the little stuff kind of works itself out. I don't really care about it.
Yeah.
And it's also really important to us and really important to Ben, Mr. Sharfi, that people have time with their families. We're very family centric as well. I don't want everybody just to be worried about work. I want them to have some time to spend with their kids, their family, because that adds to the overall thing.
Well, and obviously that's why you're successful.
Try to be.
Yeah.
We're doing our darndest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've really enjoyed hearing about what you all do, and
Thank
we're
you.
winding down now. Is there something we missed that you might want to cover or talk about?
No, we would love to be. We love being in the neighborhood. We love being in the area. We love being a small business. We try to support everybody. Notwithstanding the success we've had and the business we have, at the end of the day, my mentality and our mentality is that we're a small local business, and that's one of the things that we don't want to just. We're not one of those businesses that watches the calendar waiting for the season. We strive to be the same to everyone, but more importantly, the locals, right? We want to cater to, we want to make sure the locals appreciate that we're a local business and we're here because we're locals and not just sitting around for the season. So from a hospitality perspective, that's important to us. And so, we welcome everybody to come out. Circa's fantastic. I think it is. I'm biased. Burrito Heaven's fantastic. The ice cream is terrific. That entire corner is really coming up, and we welcome everybody to come out.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you
very
for
good.
having me.
My pleasure. Thank
Yes, sir.
you.
Thank you.